Get started here. Welcome to our monthly webinar series here at Lead Sherpa. We are excited today to dig a little bit more into skip trace, as well as get into a little bit of what's coming down the pike for Lead Sherpa, and then ending it with a question and answer session of any questions that you may have in general about Lead Sherpa. So if you move on over to the next slide here, a little bit of who is on the call today. We have Alicia. She is our customer success manager here at Lead Sherpa. My name is Laura, and I'm the manager of customer success and support. And we also have Amber, who is our lead product designer on the call with us today. And I will go ahead and hand it over to Alicia.
You're on mute there, Alicia.
If I unmute, that would help, huh? So today we're going to talk about skip trace. So on the agenda today, we are going to discuss what does Lead Sherpa skip trace offer, best practices for getting your list ready to skip trace, what data is returned with Lead Sherpa skip tracing, and what to do with the information once it's skip traced. So what does Lead Sherpa skip trace have to offer? We have a lot of things that differentiate us from other skip tracing softwares out there. One thing is in automated processing. So you get that back in real time. You don't have to wait 2 or 3 days to get your results from the skip trace. Inline LLC trust, an entity backed skip trace, meaning if you have a company name in the skip trace data, results will be found for that company as well. It doesn't have to just be a person. We only charge you 4 hits. So if you do not get data returned back to you, you will not be charged for us searching for you. We average about a 97% hit rate on all of our data that is skip trace. So we do have a pretty high hit rate. Automated file deduplication. So if you have multiple lists that you are skip tracing, if it has the same phone number on it, you will not be charged again. Just the first time that number is skip traced is when you would be charged for that number. We do a free litigator scrub on every search. So we search our database for any litigators, and we will flag them as such so that you know that they are litigators. You can search by property address only. And then what would happen is once you skip trace, any information that is found will be updated in the system for you. We do have a 25 record minimum, which is the lowest in the industry. You can single skip trace as well. There are ways to do that. If you want more information on that, you can reach out to our support team and we can get into further details with you on that. So the first thing I want to talk about is the data that you're importing into skip trace. Clean data is very important. More data will be returned. Return data will be more accurate, and you will send the right messages to the right numbers. You're getting those accurate numbers when your data is clean upon import. So what does that look like? So the minimum requirements to skip trace, as we talked about, are the property address, city, state, and zip. But for best results, the more of these columns that you have or line items that you have, the better your results will be. So if you have the first name, last name, property address, and mailing address, then the best results will be returned for you. So let's say that this is your initial list. You have a full name here, mailing address, mailing, city, state, zip, property, city, state, zip. So the first thing that you would want to do in order to clean up your data is to separate out the first name and last name. We do offer a video on our YouTube channel that we will also link. I don't know if we can link it in the chat here, Laura, or not. But we do offer a video on a simple way to do this. But the first thing is to separate out the first and last name into columns. Don't include any middle names or junior, senior, third, things like that. Only include one name per property. So this one here is John and Ruth Ann. We're just going to want to have John Lynn or Ruth Ann Lynn, or even Ruth Lynn, since Ann would probably be her middle name. Companies, trust, and LLC can stay in the same cell, so you don't need to separate those out into multiple cells. And the best formatting for Lead Sherpa is a CSV file. So if you are in Excel and you don't know how to do that, you would just, when you click on File and Save As, there is a drop down to save as a CSV. So that is the best formatting for imports into Lead Sherpa. So with the magic of Hollywood, I'll show you what this list looks like cleaned up here. So you'll see the first name in one column, the last name in another column. This is John and Ruth Ann. We just made it John. And then we kept the company name or the LLC or trust in that first column there. So this is the best formatting. Make sure that there are labels on top as to what they are: first name, last name, mailing address, property address, and so forth. What do you get when you skip trace with Lead Sherpa? We returned 14 data points. We have up to 3 phone numbers for the primary search, up to 2 relatives with up to 3 numbers for each of those relatives, up to 2 emails, the age of the owner, the property owner golden address. So this is something that Lead Sherpa finds. We have coined this term golden address as the most recent mailing address for your owner. This is the most up-to-date address that can be found on this owner. Property owner validated USPS mailing address. Again, so we will find the most updated address for you. Property owner IP address, vacancies, recent vacancies, or if the property is vacant or not, bankruptcy, if the owner is deceased, foreclosures, liens, judgments, and litigators. And on these last few here from 8 down, we will also flag those or tag those in Lead Sherpa on your behalf. So you don't have to tag those as such. We will do that for you. So once your list is uploaded into Lead Sherpa, there's a few things that you can do with it. If you have a list that is all one category, let's say vacancies, they're all vacant, you know that they're all vacant, and you want to start a campaign of just these vacant properties, you can go ahead and push them directly into a campaign. Something to know is that in order to push to a campaign, you have to have a campaign set up prior to. So just setting up that campaign with a name, you know, vacancy list or whatever you want to name it, before you push to it. You can add to a campaign that already has prospects. So if you have a campaign that is vacancy and you want to add this list to it, you can do so. And then you can also bulk tag them at this time during that push. You can also export your list. So once you get all of that data returned, you can export it and have that information to push to another software if you'd like, save it, combine it with another file, anything that you want to do. It will export as an Excel file for you. The last thing you could do is probably my favorite. You can use PropStack to refine your list. So you can actually upload that list directly into PropStack, and then you can then sort by different criteria. So if your list was not just vacancies, if it had pre-foreclosures, bankruptcies, vacancy, all sorts of things, you can load it into PropStack and then filter as such and then push to a campaign in that way as well. That's all that I really have for skip tracing. So next I'm going to pass it on to Laura for some upcoming plans with Lead Sherpa.
Awesome. Thanks, Alicia. So looks like we might be missing dot at the top there.
I think it might be animated. You might just need
Okay, you want to hit the net. Yeah, there you go. I was like, it's blank. All right. So one of the things that we've definitely been working on for quite some time in an effort to get the SMS campaigns right is the plan to move to an upgraded SMS managed provider. So meaning that we are bringing all the managed numbers back into Lead Sherpa's control so that we can once again reach Verizon and all these prospects without the need for a third-party integration and with your third-party account. So we're excited about that. With this, our goal is to really, in general, simplify the entire process of managing SMS markets and phone numbers and the 10 DLC registration components. So we do have some exciting updates coming with that as well. So it's more about just picking a plan and not necessarily worrying about cost per text messages, cost per market, cost per phone number, cost for registration with 10 DLC. And our goal is to really simplify that as much as possible. And so we kind of take the heavy lifting and the managing off of you guys so that we can just get you the best delivery rates and the best lead generation possible. And then finally, we do have a sequencing feature coming about. So what sequences is, and we do have a little sneak peek preview here. This is still in the testing phase. But just to give you a little bit idea, so this is going to allow you to essentially push specific prospects into a sequence, and then that sequence will play out as you've set it up. So for example, you can send a message and then tell a system, hey, wait 10 days and then queue this next message up. You can tell the system, send 2 text messages over the course of the next 10 days, and then send me a reminder to call this prospect. So our initial version of this should be available relatively soon, and we'll begin our testing phases. So be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura. So as always, we definitely suggest if you have any technical questions, reach out to support. They are here solely to help you and make sure that you guys aren't struggling with using the system. So definitely utilize those. They're an amazing team. They answer questions super